Tonight, new developments in the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination as the White House moves to boost security. Utah's governor revealing new information about the suspect and his romantic relationship with his roommate, he says, who's now helping officials. As for the man accused of killing Kirk,
the suspect has not been cooperating so far.
Plus, the stadium-sized memorial planned to honor Kirk and NFL teams paying tribute tonight. Safety also in the spotlight, with the White House requesting millions of dollars to boost government security as lawmakers face growing threats. The FBI director under growing scrutiny for his handling of the investigation. Mexican Independence Day celebrations in Chicago during an ongoing immigration crackdown and after a deadly ICE confrontation near that city. Take a look at this. A huge tornado touching down in Utah and the latest damage reports from a twister in North Dakota. The Secretary of State arriving overseas, meeting with Israel's prime minister after he said President Trump is not happy with the Israeli attack on Qatar. Here at home, cases of West Nile virus spiking this year as health officials sound the alarm. Why it's happening and why you might have no idea if you have it. Buy now, pay later platforms soaring in popularity as more people turn to them for hotels, groceries, even DoorDash. Do you ever worry that any of your customers are going to get in over their head and overextend themselves?
For sure.
What it may say about our economy. Our one-on-one with the CEO of Klarna.
This is NBC Nightly News with Hallie Jackson.
Good evening. We begin tonight with new developments in the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination and new details about the man accused of killing him, pictured here in new images. Utah's governor telling NBC News the suspect had been living with a transgender partner and that while the roommate is cooperating with police, he says the suspected shooter is not, ahead of a court hearing this week. Tonight, thousands attending vigils to remember Kirk, including here in Washington, and some NFL teams holding moments of silence before games today, with new questions now around security days after the shooting. Some in Congress huddling for an unusual Sunday night briefing, and the Trump administration requesting tens of millions of dollars more to boost government security. We've got team coverage with Morgan Chesky in Utah, starting us off.
Tonight, new insight into murder suspect Tyler Robinson. Authorities telling NBC News the 22-year-old is now on a special watch status and under close supervision inside Utah County Jail.
The suspect has not been cooperating so far.
On Meet the Press, Utah's governor said Robinson's former roommate is helping investigators, adding the two were in a romantic relationship.
We can confirm that that roommate is a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. I will say that that person has been very cooperative with authorities.
The governor adding the roommate had no idea Robinson was planning an attack on conservative activist Charlie Kirk. A federal official tells NBC News there's not a solid understanding of whether there's any connection between that relationship and the shooting. Kirk open on his views critical of both transgender people and trans rights. Investigators say the suspect told his family he didn't like Kirk or his viewpoints.
According to family and people that we're interviewing, he does come from a conservative family, but his ideology was very different than his family.
State charges are expected to be filed against the suspect on Tuesday. In Arizona, Turning Point USA, the conservative organization Kirk co-founded, is now planning a massive memorial. The event next Sunday at Arizona's State Farm Stadium, expecting to draw President Trump.
I'm going to be going to Charlie's, I guess you'd call it a funeral. There's a small one. I said, can we do the big one? Because we're going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a big deal.
More tributes appearing nationwide. On NFL Sunday, several teams honoring Kirk before kickoff.
His life for your glory.
And in Phoenix,
we pray that Charlie Kirk's life will be celebrated today.
Kirk's church remembering his impact, calling his life a testament to unwavering conviction, and even sharing an AI-generated message of Kirk himself from beyond the grave.
Don't waste 1 second mourning me. I knew the risks of standing up in this cultural moment, and I'd do it all over again.
Back in Utah,
there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain. Not just me, but in the whole world.
On the campus where he witnessed the shooting from mere feet away, Skylar Baird is refusing to live in fear, standing by what he believes in.
You feel, in a way, emboldened.
Oh, 100%. 100%, 1,000%. We're here to challenge our ideas and to learn from one another so that we can find truth. And I believe that truth, obviously, to be with God.
Morgan is joining us now from Utah Valley University. And Morgan, we are also learning more tonight about the school's reopening plan this week.
Yeah, Hallie, we are. The school says that employees will be back tomorrow, but students will not return here until Wednesday. And we're also getting some new numbers from Turning Point USA, who says that they have been inundated with requests to start chapters on campuses nationwide, adding they've received more than 35,000 inquiries since Kirk passed. Hallie.
Morgan Chesky in Utah, thank you. Here in Washington, some of the nation's top Republicans attending a memorial service for Kirk tonight, even as the spotlight intensifies on security for government officials in the wake of Kirk's assassination. Yamiche Alcindor reports.
Tonight, growing security concerns following the assassination of Charlie Kirk, with the White House and lawmakers seeking to bolster protections for officials. House Speaker Mike Johnson describing the fear among members of Congress.
Yeah, well, I've been talking with a lot of them over the last few days about that and trying to calm the nerves, to assure them that we will make certain that everyone has the level of security that's necessary.
The Trump administration now requesting an additional $58 million from Congress for security to protect the executive and judicial branches, a leadership aide confirmed to NBC News. And tonight, House Democrats holding a virtual briefing to discuss member security. What's the mood like among you and your colleagues when you think about safety in this moment?
Well, I think we're all concerned about safety. When Charlie Kirk was shot, I said to somebody immediately, that could be you or me.
Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel facing new questions over his handling of the shooting of Kirk. Late yesterday, Patel posting online, against all law enforcement recommendations, we demanded the video footage and enhanced stills of the suspect be released to the public. But this morning, Utah Governor Spencer Cox saying this.
We certainly never recommended against that. This was a co-lead operation. So the FBI was co-lead with the state. We worked very closely together.
The statements coming after Patel faced several days of criticism, including on the day of the shooting, when he posted online that the subject in Kirk's killing was in custody, then posted the person had been released. A senior White House official telling NBC News that President Trump continues to have confidence in Patel.
Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job.
Meanwhile, in the last week, several people, including service members, college professors, and employees at companies like Microsoft and Delta, have been reprimanded and in some cases fired for online posts seen as mocking or condoning the murder of Kirk.
Yamiche joins us now from New Jersey. And Yamiche, as for Director Patel, he's expected to face questions on this investigation from Congress soon, right?
That's right. This week, in two regularly scheduled House and Senate hearings, Director Patel is expected to face questions from lawmakers about the shooting of Charlie Kirk, the FBI's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case, and his overall leadership. Hallie?
Yamiche Alcindor traveling with the president. Thank you. To Chicago now, with crowds celebrating Mexican Independence Day at a time when tensions in that city have ratcheted up from ongoing immigration crackdowns. Maggie Vespa has the latest.
Tonight, parades and public defiance. Celebrating Mexican Independence Day in Chicago and L.A., two cities targeted by President Trump's sweeping immigration crackdown.
We're not going anywhere. It's as simple as that.
We're not going to be scared in our own home.
This parade is a tradition dating back more than half a century in Chicago. It typically draws up to 400,000 people. And organizers say this year, even with everything going on, this crowd isn't far off.
Organizers working with Chicago police and private security to keep crowds safe while deploying civil rights groups in case of ICE arrests.
We have rapid response teams on site. We have over 25 immigration attorneys on site. So we're ready to face whatever comes our way.
A separate celebration in Chicago postponed amid safety concerns, with similar events canceled or postponed in cities nationwide.
All power to the people!
It comes after weeks of protests and Friday's fatal shooting of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, who DHS says was an undocumented immigrant. The agency saying an ICE officer shot and killed the 38-year-old after he fled a traffic stop, dragging the officer with his car. This weekend, ICE saying they arrested a suspected MS-13 gang member also in the Chicago area. ICE trumpeting the president's so-called Operation Midway Blitz.
We have to make sure that we're protecting all the United States.
Tonight, a community pushing back.
We are not intimidated, we are united, and we will resist anyone who seeks to silence us.
Now, our team didn't see any DHS or ICE officers at today's parade. We reached out afterward to ask if any arrests were made. The agencies tonight not answering those questions. Hallie.
Also tonight, look at this tornado touching down in Utah we're about to show you. That's pretty rare there, pretty intense too, that dark cloud on the move. Fortunately, it didn't leave too much damage in its wake. And a similar story in North Dakota with late word tonight of more than a dozen preliminary twisters there. A tornado watch in that area is in effect until later on tonight. Overseas, the Secretary of State is visiting Israel tonight after he said President Trump was not happy with the Israelis' surprise attack on Hamas leadership in Qatar. Keir Simmons is in Doha for us tonight. And Keir, this moment is kind of a split screen with a high-level Arab summit happening at the same time.
That's right, Hallie. Good evening. Here in Qatar, the furious government is gathering together leaders from around the world and condemning Israel. While in Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and visiting the Western Wall. Afterwards, Netanyahu saying the U.S.-Israeli relationship is as strong as the bricks in that wall. But Rubio looking for answers after, as you say, President Trump said he is not happy with that Israeli strike on the Hamas political headquarters here in Qatar. Qatar says it is state terrorism and an attack on diplomacy as the U.S. grapples with the fallout of one ally, Israel, attacking the territory of another ally. Hallie?
Keir Simmons, thank you. And at the Vatican today, Pope Leo XIV celebrating Mass and his 70th birthday today. He's waving there. You can see those big crowds during his traditional Sunday blessing. And check this out. The U.S. ambassador presenting the Pope with a birthday cake sent all the way from his hometown of Chicago. How about that? Still ahead tonight, new concerns about a major increase in cases of West Nile virus in more than half the country. Why health officials are sounding the alarm. Back now with a health alert about a spike in cases of West Nile virus, with officials saying that they are up big time this year. Maya Eaglin reports.
Tonight, new concerns over the West Nile virus, a disease spread through mosquitoes, infecting more than 770 people in 39 states. According to the Associated Press, citing CDC data, cases are 40% higher than they typically are this time of year. Scientists say warmer temperatures and higher rainfall could be leading to more mosquitoes carrying the virus.
I had a lot of fatigue, 103-degree fever, muscle aches. I had brain damage. I couldn't speak well. I couldn't move my body well.
Sarah Haynes, a volunteer firefighter near Philadelphia, says she was infected while gardening this summer.
I thought it was poison oak. It ended up being mosquito bites and West Nile virus. I was in the hospital for a week, in bed for a week after that.
Doctors say some people might not even know they're infected because symptoms can be hard to recognize, especially as we enter cold and flu season.
Mild symptoms include just usually a fever, maybe a little mild headache that can occur after a mosquito bite. But neurological complications that we worry about.
Now, health officials in some states warning there's a high risk for getting the virus.
What are your biggest concerns about West Nile virus?
My biggest concerns are obviously the complications and possible deaths that can occur, especially as we're seeing a rise in cases throughout the United States.
While there's no specific treatment, experts recommend a few ways to protect yourself. Wear long sleeves and pants when outside, use bug repellent, and pour out any standing water. As health officials caution, cases are expected to climb as we wrap up the summer season. Maya Eaglin, NBC News.
We're back in a moment with the rise of those buy now, pay later platforms people are using for everything from vacations to DoorDash. So what does that say about Americans' finances? Next. We're back with a look at those buy now, pay later platforms, more popular than ever, with people using them for everything from vacations and hotels to groceries and takeout. So what does that say about where our economy's going? We went one-on-one with the head of Klarna for more.
Groceries are expensive, but I got all of this today for $55.
These days, more and more people are buying it now.
It's not just for buying clothes.
And paying for it later. Call it modern-day layaway, hugely helpful for Randus Denny's in Memphis.
It makes it much easier to kind of navigate through life sometimes.
He says he uses it for everything from plane tickets to groceries, then pays it off in a series of fixed, interest-free installments over time.
There's an option to where if something happens, I have an easy access to purchase something.
His company of choice? Klarna, with 26 million users in the U.S. and partnerships this year with retailers like Walmart and with DoorDash. That move, lighting up the internet.
We cannot start going into debt over a burrito.
What do you say to people who are looking at your partnership with DoorDash, for example, and going, that seems ridiculous to use a buy now, pay later for that?
Well, first and foremost, I think all of them are using the credit card when they buy online with DoorDash, so they're already borrowing. The truth is that Klarna doesn't only do credit. 20% of our transactions are debit, where people pay the full amount, so we're much more like a PayPal wallet.
Do you ever worry that any of your customers are going to get in over their head and overextend themselves?
For sure, and as any form of credit, they will, right? But if I look at the actual outcomes, I know our losses are 20-30% lower than credit cards. So I know the product is healthier, but it's still credit.
Klarna CEO Sebastian Shemiatkovsky says customers rarely use buy now, pay later for groceries. Instead, for bigger ticket items, taking advantage of 0% interest during the payback period.
It could be a $100 purchase, usually, on average. And it could be a piece of clothing. It could be a ticket to a concert.
Some experts point to concerns over these kinds of short-term loans.
It's convenient for people that don't have a credit card or don't want to pay the high interest fees associated with a credit card, but it also leads to a lot of impulse buying and potentially other risks.
A recent survey shows 41% of buy now, pay later users say they paid late at least once in the past year. That's up from 34% the year before. If people miss a payment, they may have to pay a late fee or be charged interest, depending on their plan. Klarna says the vast majority of its customers pay on time.
We borrow for such a short period of time, so people pay us back in 50, 60 days on average. What I've seen with Klarna is our ability to adapt to new economical recession or if it's a more positive, we can adapt very, very quickly.
So you feel like you're more nimble in a moment where there is economic uncertainty.
Exactly.
But now Klarna wants to be known as more than a place for buy now, pay later. They're expanding, launching a new card, getting into mobile phone plans, and just this week, a major milestone, going public. The company now worth more than $16 billion.
We're coming from Europe where we have learned how to compete and be successful on much lower rates. We look at the US, we're like, wow, we can offer products that are so much more affordable, so much better, and we can still make money.
Even as a 20-year-old company, you feel like Klarna can be a disruptor here.
Very much so. That's what that's my whole aspiration, 100%.
And by the way, those buy now, pay later plans seem to only be surging in popularity, with national numbers showing half of users saying it's the only way they can afford what they bought with it. That is Nightly News for this Sunday. Stick around for Sunday Night Football next with the Falcons at the Vikings. Tom will be back tomorrow. I'm Hallie Jackson. For all of us here at NBC, thanks for watching and have a great week.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.